Good evening, welcome back to the Student StarCraft AI tournament, but not before the AIIDE results will be announced. As you can see, Purple Wave by Dan Gand won the whole thing with an 88.56 win percentage. That's pretty impressive. And then about 3% behind that, McRave, then Locutus, Iron Banana Brain, and then Xiao Yi, Microwave. Xiao Yi's I don't know who that is really. I will have to look at that once replays get released. SSCAIT by Chris Cokes, Beta Star, and Metapod. I don't know what those are, but judging on there being Protoss, they could very well be a copy or an adaptation of one of these bots here at the top. So as you can see, Microwave and SSCAIT holding up the field for Zerg, Terran being represented by Xiao Yi, and Iron, of course, and for the rest it's all Protoss. So to celebrate that, we'll start the game with a PvP. It's Banana Brain versus Locutus. Oh, and I was going to show you the ELO ratings on the Student StarCraft server. It's Locutus, Purple Wave, and Brave, in well, the same three in a bit of a different order than Halpan, Crazy Protoss, which did not participate, Banana Brain, Ironbot, Purple Destiny, Microwave, Steamhammer Dragon, and all the rest. So it's looking to be a really good year for Brutal AI, and of course congratulations once again to Dan Gand winning AIIDE. It's quite a feat seeing the field of competitors, and well, let's see how it will fare in this broadcast. I received a couple of recommendations. We'll cast both of them this week, and you can see both Banana Brain and Locutus are now blocking the enemy, but unfortunately the scouting pro for Locutus is already in, so that doesn't really work as well as intended. But it's nice to see that there is a trick to prevent early scouting information, and you can see that these probes are still here, and now the Goon takes over but lets the probe in, and that could be improved upon because now it saw the Citadel and probably the Templar Archives as well. And call me crazy, but I do think that Banana Brain is going to do something about that. That might well be a Forge or a Templar Archives. Okay, so we've got a double DT thing going on. Here come the first two DTs by Locutus. Locutus expanding behind this, and Banana Brain did see it, but if this is a Forge, it's really rather late. You can see this going wrong. The DTs ignoring the army and going straight into the main base. Here is the Forge, here are the DTs of Banana Brains, but this appears to be over, and I think that there is time for Locutus to get some detection going, and right now, ooh, I don't know why they are not attacking any further, but a lot of damage is being done to Banana Brain's base. Here comes the Forge again, I believe. Oh, it's a Railway, and that is going to be, was the Forge probably. And I think over here there is a Forge, but there is no cannon. So DT rushing okay, DT defense could be better. I think this is going to be a cannon, nothing in the main. But with the natural in good order and the enemy base looking like this, I think it's a foregone conclusion that even though these DTs are sort of stuck, I think that Locutus has got the best cards to win this. This is a bit of a clusterfuck DT-wise. Oh, and the ground army of Locutus has got defeated as well, but now with the Goon, I think the Zealous will be kited, and that's the end of that. Oh dear. Okay, so let's hop into the next game. As we say, it's one of the recommendations of this week. It's TSMU Random versus Insanity Bot. And TSMU Random can be doing all kinds of silly stuff. And Insanity Bot, we don't get too many games of watching that, so that will be very interesting to watch. Starting with a Barracks, and TSMU Random rolled as a Protoss. Obviously, and TSMU Protoss is pretty strong, so that will be okay. Bunker with a couple of Marines in it for starters, and Mu is going for, I think, not a quick expansion, but for a cyber core, one gate kind of thing. Oh, and a quick expansion in the middle of the map. Okay. So, all fine and dandy. Insanity sitting back in the middle of the base in its natural. Worker count for both players not really increasing as quickly as could have been, but the question is, what's move? Oh god. So leave it to TSMU to do something ridiculous, and Insanity looks like it's going for a lot of infantry. And if this is what I think it is, Fleet Beacon with 2 Stargates and perhaps 2 more, this might be a carrier play. And I think that Protoss is starting to use carriers more and more. It's a pretty good unit. But versus a Stim Bio army, that might... Oh, this might be good. Here goes this base. All the probes will have to flee. They do not. Oh, there is 1 carrier. But with 1 interceptor, it doesn't really work. And fire bats versus probes is not really a fair fight anyway. Now we've got 2 carriers. More on the way. This base is out of commission. TSMU is on 1 base, while Insanity is on 3. Albeit the worker count is not the highest. But the Marines don't really dare attack the carriers for some reason. That is unfortunate for the Marines, at least. And the carriers can increase their interceptor numbers and their numbers in total as well. But more Marines are coming. A lot of stimming going on. But now with 2 carriers and 3 goons, TSMU has things sort of under control. More carriers are coming. The base is still mining. That's the most ridiculous of all. Because there is such a lot of bio, they could just stim through, right through the carriers with a few interceptors and the goons as well. But, as we say, you never... Oh, you can't really sit back. That's 5 supply wasted. And supply-wise, TSMU is not that bad. It's got all the units in one place, and they sort of know what to do, while Insanity Bot doesn't really. And now the goons and 4 carriers are over here, trying to kill this base, immediately pounding on the command center. And the Marines, they don't really... Oh, god. How to lose a base by TSMU. Sort of base trade, but now the fire bats are going to get it, I fear. And the medics as well. So, nice enough game, but I think that this is... Unless the Marines take heart and learn how to fight carriers, I don't think, especially with this base out of commission, it is not going to be a very long game. Oh, sorry, I should not select everything all the time. TSMU's army side is growing, and while Insanity Bot's army is pretty good, everything's stimming and there aren't really enough medics, so you can see all these Marines getting pretty low, and standing outside here in carrier's range is not really beneficial to their general health. Now Insanity is making a lot of infantry. Oh, going for ghosts, that might be interesting. But TSMU, taking 1 base over here. Without workers, must be said, but I really wonder about the choice of where to take bases. And Insanity still losing a lot of units. TSMU not really breaching 57 supply, not really getting 50, and now Insanity is rolling with the Marines. And you can hear all the stimming going on, and finally some medics arrive, so the damage potential is there. TSMU having the greatest difficulty making units because it hasn't got any money. There are some probes over here. It's not even fully saturated. This base is not really saturated either. This base just got killed, and now there is a huge blob of bio running into its base. Going after the pilot. Oh, and a drop as well. That's pretty well done by Insanity. And it must be said that Insanity is playing really rather well. TSMU is trying to get some back, but doesn't really seem to work as well as intended. Now the main base is dead and gone. A small garrison left behind just to make sure. 1 goon is hiding in the corner here, and now this base is going to be all for it because there is almost there's more than 100 supply in bio with a science vessel, and that is the game. TSMU trying to restart over here, but Insanity Bot is having none of it, and it's just running in head on, going to kill this. And the carriers, how many interceptors have they left? Well, 34, but they aren't really effective, and that was the game. So congratulations to Insanity Bot for beating TSMU, and yeah, let's hop into the next one. Next recommendation, it's again TSMU versus Locutus. Locutus didn't really win to manage the AIIDE tournament, which was a bit of a surprise, but Versus Purple Wave is pretty close, and if one of them has got the decisive final update, which is not revealed and countered, it can be quite messy. So Locutus, I think we all know, is going to do the beautiful SimCity. Versus Zerg, I think this is pretty good. And another one on the high ground just to make sure, and this is just very, very beautiful play, just to prevent run-bys, and of course as a Zerg you can't really do too much damage in the early game. And behind that there is going to be a spinning core and a couple of goons. Ooh, and the first goon is running off already, the first goons are there already, Tisimu with a couple of Sunkens behind the bridges. I think that's pretty good, and now with a handful of hatches in the main base. That is going to... oh dear, oh dear. What's it going to be, I think? Oh, it's going to be Mutas for now, but... will that work? I think the Locutus can't really break these Sunkens. There are 5 behind bridges with Muta backup. So this is not really a situation that Locutus would want to get into, but it can expand because Tisimu sort of exactly locked in his base. Any Muta upgrades coming? No, not yet. +1 attack. Oh, here come the Mutas. They are going for it, but there are way too many goons and the Mutas are not really stacked, like you see Killerbot and their ilk do. Tisimu still going for the harassy style. Yeah, there you go. The Mutas plowing into the goons with the Zergans. Lots of Zergans coming off. The goons splitting nicely, but taking some damage still. But the Mutas, of course, they are pretty weak, so they'll have to vacate the field. And Tisimu is producing a lot of stuff. You can see it over here. Lots of Zerglings, but the goon count is increasing as well. And although some goons are falling, with the splitting and microing they do, they are pretty effective. And of course, the rallies of goons are pretty impressive as well. But now Zerglings from 2 sides, the goons will take some losses. Some Mutas are still overhead. And I think that Tisimu, yes, immediately sneaks out, takes another base, but Locutus is all over the place. So the Zerglings will now have to, retire. Am I still recording the right screen? Yes, I am. Oh, this is not good at all. Tisimu losing some lings. And now the goons. Ooh, the goons, they take quite a beating. But they are quite expert in getting back alive somehow. There is a Corsair now, but Tisimu is really pushing the Protoss back. Protoss army is falling rapidly. Zerg has got a larger army and now is in this base here as well. You can see as soon as it has been found, like a colony of ants, what the Zerg should be about, immediately finding the weak spot and carving it out. Should kill the Nexus though. That is so important, and lots of players just forget that. Now with Archons, the Zergans, you are kidding, you are not going to play. Oh, that's a beautiful position by the Archon, beautiful movement there, but now the pylons all for it, but you should kill the Nexus, but so many goons are falling and Tisimu is expanding once more. Locutus has got some bases as well, but this one is not mining, and Tisimu should just set a couple of Zerglings on it and leave the extractor or the assimilator and all that stuff, and leave the goons as well. Just 4 or 5 Zerglings and kill that Nexus. That's so very important, but you can see Tisimu's worker count is okay now on 4 bases, and the army supply is okay, and that's mainly because there are Archons. And now Tisimu is trying to kill the base, but now being pushed back, and the Nexus is still standing, but not even all the shields taken off. So that's, I think, that's a small oversight on the side, on the part of Tisimu, not killing the Nexus. Now on the defensive, I'm sure that these Zealots have got +1, the Zerglings haven't got anything to say. So yeah, now it's Tisimu's turn to lose a base. And immediately Locutus is reinforcing with an Archon, with a couple of goons. And you can see that this +1 attack is so very critical if the enemy has got Zerglings. Tisimu sort of salvages the base, now going on the counter-offensive. But still this base is operational. Or sort of. And now the Zerglings retire, so you should really have a small hit squad of about 10 Zerglings. Just kill this base, kill the Nexus, and it's all probes and combat units, but just 2 or 3 Zerglings would have set up this Nexus ages ago. Now there is an Archon coming in for some cleanup, and you can see Tisimu's army supply bundling. Locutus is really rocking the boat, taking another expansion. Should just put up 1 or 2 cannons just to make sure. and same here, just 2 cannons, and the entire Zergling thing will fall apart, because you've got the Corsairs, you've got Goons, you've got Archons being able to sweep in, TSMU losing a base. There are some Mutas, quite a lot of Mutas, but versus Protoss, Goons and Archons, that doesn't really work as well. And you can see Locutus threatening the main base and simultaneously taking down the expansion over here, which is a pretty good play. Must be said, just take out the base, kill the extractor as well. This one's still standing, that doesn't really matter. The main is nearly mined out for TSMU, and Locutus with the excellent decision making is, I fear, going to claim this game. The Sunkens are holding with some Mutas and Zergling help, but all in all, there is just way too much stuff for Locutus. TSMU is trying to fight and holding with half the army supply. This base is now fortified. All the bases are fortified with just 2 cannons each. And TSMU is basically down to 1 base. Corsairs are over everything, going to corner an Overlord. They let it live, I don't know why. But this is over. So I'm going to call the GG on this. And let's hop into the next game, which will be what we have. Thunder Brain versus Halpan. I just took a couple of good games for to demonstrate differences between all the players, and you just saw a very strong performance by Locutus, bringing it back. Good army control, very good decision making especially. And of course I think that these games will reflect the standings at the AIIDE tournament, with Purple Wave number 1, McRave, Locutus, Iron, Banana Brain, and then the rest. And you can see it's all about Protoss. Protoss is everywhere these days, and that is going to be a hard thing to stop for Terran and Zerg. But never say never, the pendulum swings. Last year it was all about Zerg, and in the past it used to be all about Terran with Crazio, with Iron, and Martin Rourke as leaderbot with the cheese, of course. But here we go, we've got the scouting probe, and Banana Brain is just denying access to its base with a handful of goons. Could take the high ground, but you never know. That's quite a nice army. Oh, with a shuttle. This must be some kind of a cheesy play. And Halpan, what's it doing? Going for some Marines, hasn't got a bunker. I think it's... no, it's not blocked, but the SCVs have got some kind of an issue. And I really wonder what that shuttle is for. Perhaps to ferry units onto the low ground. The goons are now playing tag with the Marines and the Vultures. There is going to be a bunker, but not really finished. And it looks like Banana Brain is just going to run straight into... oh, here we go. One Zealot onto a siege tank. A Vulture will try to help another one. And I think this is a pretty good play by Banana Brain. You can see lots of pressure, but there is the natural up for Halpan already. The work count is slightly in Halpan's favour. And with a couple of tanks and a bunker, I think that Halpan just sort of helped is. Now, Banana Brain's got the natural up and running as well. Has got some pylons, has got some technology, that's very good. Going for Reaver, looks like. But contesting the Terran in open field. Now there are tanks and Vultures. I'm pretty confident there must be mines soon too. Yes, here it comes. A Vulture speed. You can see Observer speed and Zealot leg speed. That's pretty good to have. Goon count is pretty low, so Zealot Vultures are going to be a little bit of a pest, and the Zealots are going to suffer a little bit because of that. Third base already being taken by Banana Brain. Banana Brain really seems to have benefited from this upgrade. There are observers over everything, and Halpan has got a nice worker saturation, has got some tanks, but is losing units in the middle of the map, taking some shots at the Zealots, but oh, here we go. That's where you've got to be afraid as a Protoss, because once the mines and the tanks start rolling towards your base, you really have to have a good plan to try and stop that. And as you can see, the goon count is pretty low. Production-wise, it's going to be all about not really mobile units as like Zealots and Reavers. And with 2 goons, with 0 goons, that's not going to work. And you can see Banana Brain without an army. It's investing heavily into all kinds of stuff, but not combat units. And Iron is just, I think, going to roll into the natural, shut it down completely. There are no, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Banana Brain Took a big gamble, overexpanded, has got a lot of observers over the enemy base, but still a bit of a siege tank and vulture problem in its natural choke. Oh, the combat units are cowering in the main mineral line. And good luck, have fun trying to stop these siege tanks on the high ground with supporting units. I think Banana Brain just booted itself out of the game, and Halpan, of course, based on iron, is rolling. Lots of buildings outside of the main, that's very good. Some depots, no fourth base yet. Oh well, here it comes with a depot attached. And of course you can imagine how this goes. It's just not worth showing at this point because... Oh, and Banana Rain is going for an Arbiter Tribunal, that's pretty cute, but should have focused on units a long time ago, and this game is over, so I will say GG. Let's see if Banana Brain does better versus Protoss, because we've got Banana Brain versus Locutus, and I like this OpenEW thingy because I can speed it up just so very, very quickly. Oh, I already did this. Oh, sorry. This game got recommended and shown again as well. So now we've got McRae versus Locutus, and you can see here McRae at the second place versus the third. And don't you worry, we have got Purple Wave games yet to come. But for now, it's McRae versus Locutus, the AIIDE number 2 versus number 3. And as we say, the game is afoot. Now, Locutus, we all know what it's going to do. No blocking of the scouting probe this game. Everything gets seen multiple times, this probe breakdancing and flipping out a little bit. On the other side, we've got basically the same going on, but this cyber core is pretty quick. And at the other end, we've got the cyber core just a little bit later, and I think... Oh, this is not something you should be doing, because there is not really, doesn't really appear to be a tag. See if enemy is check for enemy scouts checking out my Citadel of Dune, in case they think we might be going for Dark Templar. Now, unit composition for both players is some Zealots, some Goons. Locutus understandably focusing more on Goons, and here come the Goons. Behind that there is not a Templar Archive, so it was a bit of a fake. And now we've got a lot of Goons, and Banana Brain again has McRae this game, has got an Observer, not really connecting its units to the front, fighting separately on the low ground, on the ramp, while Locutus is just going to steamroll in. Oh, there is a Reaver, but it's not really supported, it hasn't even fired once, and now workers are falling, and this is, as they say, the game. 1 army supply, 4 workers. That must be good game. So Locutus being especially brutal. And let's hop into the next game, which will be a PvZ, namely Microwave versus Purple Wave. And Microwave has been the best Zerg for quite some time. You can see it over here. It is a little over Steamhammer. Steamhammer's doing pretty good as well. But also in AIIDE, it is there up as the highest Zerg with a winning percentage, which is still pretty good. But what exactly is the difference between it and the reigning champion of the AIIDE tournament? Purple Wave. So Purple Wave going for a lot of Zealots. Is it going for the +1 as well? Because as a Protoss, if I were to see such a lot of Zerg and just put down a Forge, you're going to need a Forge anyway in case there is going to be mutas, but just get the +1. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. And now it's throwing up Sunkens pretty quickly, but oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, the Zerglings are AFK. And Zealots are, I like that. Although the main attack's getting wiped out, some workers were killed, and with Zerg, if you can keep the worker numbers down, that's always worth a couple of Zealots, and should be attempted, even if it will cost you some additional Zealots. Now, Natural being started for the Purple Wave, and Microwave out of workers. Really, that's not a lot of workers. And switching into Hydras at a time like this, You can see Purple Wave banking on those goons pretty hard as well. Only 1 sunken, only 0 sunkens, and that's that, as they say. Now it's going to be bleeding, bleeding, bleeding. The worker count's nearly double for Purple Wave, and more drones are going to be lost for Microwave. Microwave has got 2 sunkens over here, which haven't fired a shot yet. Might have had some more over there, and just be a little bit more decisive, because Hydra Ling is not going to stop the Gateway Army ever. You either need lurkers or mutas to keep the enemy off balance, and then just a lot of sunkens in the natural, not in the main, and teching at a time like this is not really worth it either. So yeah, that is going to be the good game. And as a tribute to Microwave, I took another game of it versus Dragon. Dragon, of course, the Terran implementation of Cherry Pie by TSMU. And Microwave, what are you going to do? Zerg play is pretty decent. Oh, here comes a sort of a Zergling play. And what has Dragon got? Dragon has got 2 Marines. That's certainly not going to be enough, but the workers are pretty stored as well. And there is a Vulture, so I think that with the workers and the Vulture, that Dragon is going to be just fine. And Microwave does really press the issue, does take down a couple of Marines, taking some bites at the SCV, but now with 2 Vultures, I think this is pretty much over. No upgrades for the Vultures yet, but you can see how well they do versus Zerglings. And now with 3 Vultures versus 3 Zerglings, that is over. And now Microwave has overcommitted to something. Hasn't got a thing in the world to help it. You need to have a plan for if your push fails, and now it's just going to be 3 Vultures versus whatever drones and Zerglings Microwave can muster, but surely that's not going to be an awful lot. And now with some Marines, I think Dragon, by holding that push, is being given a free victory. There is no sunken, not even, well, there is one in the main, but and still Microwave's feeding drones into a hazardous area. Wraith coming in overhead as well. Dragon 1A, 2A, 3Aing just into victory. And starting the natural just behind that. So was a little bit all-inish by Microwave, but the follow-up could have been better, and without any units, this game is over. So, oh, sorry, I did something stupid there. What did I do? Okay, so another game of Iron versus TSCMU. And after that we've got 2 more games by the reigning champion, and we'll be good for the day. TSCMU with a goodish SimCity, going to need a gateway, but otherwise being pretty safe versus a scouting SCV. Nice, yeah, how you say, nice SimCity also by Ironbot, with a siege tank, and I'm sure that's going to be siege mode. Flying a command center, that's pretty good. And now 3 tanks are going to go on a mission. TSCMU scouts it with a probe, and the probe is going after the siege tank. I don't know how well that's going, but I think that TSCMU is going to be in a bit of a problem, because it's only got 1 gateway, a couple of cannons, and there are 3 siege tanks at the gate. There is detection, but there is no mobile detection, so if there is not going to be, here you go, a scan or a science vessel, this Dark Templar can sort of repel the siege tanks, but TSCMU is, for all intents and purposes, locked up in its base. While Iron is mining up all the expansions, and if you are wondering why these Vultures are running from Dark Templars, they can't see them, they cannot target them. By analogy, that a human player might see the slight blur moving across the map. AIs were given the capacity to do that as well, but they can see them a little bit more effectively, so that is why these Vultures are running so well, I was saying, from the DTs, but it's not really perfect yet. They do get cornered from time to time, and yeah, there you go. But the main base is pretty safe, and some units are, and oh, that's a comsat right there. Oh, but the tank will have to head back home. And now the Dark Templar just can't really get in. The probe and the mine, they play hooky, and I thought that TCMU would have something to counter that. Oh, Reaver shot. That was a quite long Reaver shot to catch that mine. This, of course, is not really going to work unless there is going to be an observer. There is an observatory, so that might not take too long. Meanwhile, we've got 2 Corsairs pestering the barracks at the entrance of Ironbot's base. And oh, that was nearly a beautiful mine drag, but hey, there you go. So lots of DT stuff going on still. The Comsat's gathering energy. And the 3rd base for Iron is nearly up. The Corsair over the Wraith, that's pretty good. But TSMU has got some great issues taking another base. And also deciding on where to strike. Now the thing with TSMU is you can't really let it sit back too long. And this is really painful. Oh, and now the Reaver starts doing damage. The Vulture, it will get out, sort of, but now get caught. And oh, that is still working in 2019. That mind trick is really... it's really cruel. It's one of these things where human trickery gets hard-coded into bots, and bots by themselves can't really figure it out. You have got to hard-code a counter to that yourself. Now you can see the problem for Protoss wants a clump of tanks, which is a IE behavior. It's hard to break. The goons, they get into range, they do take out some tanks. The Reaver gets overhead, gets in a couple of shots, but now the push sort of peters out because reinforcements of Terran are just going to slam that down. Oh, now I didn't see how that happened. Oh, the Zealot. The Zealot! Okay, well that was probably worth it. Immediately the Nexus gets plopped down. And here we get the battle in the main. Ooh, nice Reaver shot right there. Lots of damage done. And the first Reaver over here was sniped. That was good. The second Reaver sniped as well, and 2 tanks in the rear sealed the deal. That with 4 tanks and a lot of Vultures just stopping the Protoss army dead in its tracks. 3 bases for Protoss, 3 bases for Terran, but the Protoss base is not really operational yet and not defended, so the Vulture do take quite a bit of a toll on all these units. And now the tanks are encroaching upon the cannons again. That's really a hard position for Protoss to be in, and then how can you stop a wall of death like this? There is 1 carrier, there is 1 Reaver. This base is completely overrun, and I think that Ironbot has got the best cards to win this game. 2 carriers now, but it's just too much at this point, and Iron is taking more and more bases. So yes, I think this is the best modern Terran we have got. Just very deadly with the encroachment, very good with the macro, and just playing it very safe, just plastering the map with turrets and mines. You can see this reinforcing road over here, covered with mines, turrets all over the place, and as a Protoss you need to use intelligence to break out of that, and that's just a very hard thing to do. A cannon and a carrier and an observer trying to defend this base, but there is just too much blue Terran awash on the map. And stasis or storm might have been good, but again, storm versus tanks with the range and the silencers and the rates and the scanners. There must be so many scanners by now. Just gathering energy. You can see Ironbot macroing like a champion, just keeping tabs on everything, just placing a turret here and there just for good measure, and TSMU has not really been able to make it work. This game, lots of upgrades as well, not as much technology by Ironbot. Ironbot very regular player, no nukes, no signs versus shenanigans other than full detection or matrix or whatever. That's about it. And that is the GG. So, yeah, there we go. Penultimate game of today. It's Microwave versus Purple Wave. And let's see how this will go. Didn't I catch that? I had... 59. Oh, well, I already did this. So yeah, last game of the day, and this is really like a personal favorite. Oh, and I must do one more by Locutus. versus Purple Wave. Where is it? Purple Terran, Purple Random. Purple Wave. Okay, so that is in stock, number 1 versus number 2. But for now, a personal choice of mine. Ta-da-da-dum, here it is. It's Purple Wave versus none other than Killerbot by Marian Diveka. And Marian Diveka is one of these Zergs which is not really updating as much as the other players, but has got a very good grasp of the game. And I fear that that may be the key to Zerg or Terran resurgence, just to know how human players play the game and what is effective, so you can translate that to AI. And Killerbot is taking a ninja expansion right over here. I fear it's going to be scouted. Oh no. With 2 hatches, so this might be some kind of a Zergling run by. Let's see if the upgrades reflect that. We've got +1 started by Purple Wave, and some Zerglings at this base already. SimCity is kind of okay. With a Zealot or 2, I think you are going to need a hell of a lot of Zerglings to try and do something about that. But there is also going to be a quick lair and a little bit of defense over here. Oh, and some technology there. I really like that. So, doesn't look like it's going to be Spire. Looks like it's going to be Lurker. And Purple Wave sitting back, playing it cautiously. Going, it looks like, for some kind of a DT play with some Corsairs. And with +1 starting as well. And oh, the Corsair gets spotted, the Hydra gets spotted as well. But there are some Overlords which can be killed. And if these are not Hydras, this Overlord is running from the Corsair. While they should be running towards the Hydra, just to get the Corsair to get damaged. And right now, I think that Killerbot is in a good position with a lot of workers, a little bit too much defense, a little too few combat units, and not really on top of protecting its Overlords from this Corsair. You can see if you place a Spore or just 2 Hydras stationary to protect these Overlords, the Corsairs haven't really got much of a role left. And right over here as well, ooh, that Overlord's pretty lucky. This base gets scouted, now the other one. And there is just nothing. Oh, the Hydras pop and immediately go to work on the Corsair, but then they get other assignments, and then it will be much harder for them to be effective on the battlefront. 3rd base being taken by Purple Wave. Purple Wave playing it very safe with some high-tech units, some Templars, some Goons, and of course the Corsairs right on top. And an Evo chamber with a couple of Spores would just fix the problem of the Corsairs. And pretty much the Dark Templar thing as well. And now Protoss is left too much to his own devices, but you can see the macro going on right over here. And some skirmishing in the middle of the map, while the main army, oh, High Templar, Storm is ready. There is no Overlord. Overlord speed is nearly done. So these Hydras should just get the hell out of the middle of the map. Oh, and just in range of the Overlord. That's pretty good. And now the Corsairs are being engaged on their own turf. And there is going to be a lot of skirmishing in the middle of the map, and I think that Killerbot really needs to get its units together. Get a couple of spits in at the Zealots, that's good, but all in all, the army size is not as great, and you've really got to know when to fight. This battle, I think, will be won, but at the cost of 1 Hydra, and the Zealot might still just get out alive. The Hydra incursion on this base is pretty well, but now they are running. They are losing a lot of Hydras just for nothing. But it's 3 bases versus a hell of a lot, and now Killerbot is going to roam the map with a lot of forces. Upgrade-wise, could be better, because you can see Protoss already working on +3, no regular ground upgrade. Oh, Storms are absolutely killing these Hydras, and then the Speed Zealots with the +2 already, and the Goons, they come just wading in for some extra blood. And you can see how many Hydras are falling, and it's just because of upgrades. They haven't got any upgrades. And I think at this point that Killerbot should have some money for the upgrades necessary to withstand this Protoss army. But Protoss hasn't really got this death ball going anyway, and is losing, might even lose some Templar, but within the safety of the cannons they can just repel the Zerg. And Zerg is running, losing units once again. The problem though is that for Protoss, that Zerg is going to get more and more bases. The main is getting low, so if Killerbot Oh, Killabot overrunning the third and killing the Nexus as well. That is pretty pro. While the main army is out here chasing units in the middle of the map. Oh no, the third lives. The Hydras were not as committed to killing the third, and now there are some Zealots with upgrades. And now, oh, Killer. Can Killer get it done? Just one or two Zerglings, just... The Hydras try to snipe the workers, but they should be more concerned about sniping the Nexus, and lots of Zerg units are being lost. And now Protoss will start building towards the Death Ball and just trying to get it done. And Zerg needs those upgrades. Protoss is even upgrading the armor, and that's not good at all. Zerg can get so much done with so few units, but if your upgrades aren't there, you can see the army disparity is... Well, both players are sort of maxed. The Dark Templar are not the most effective if there are Overlords, but... Protoss weapon upgrades are just so good, and 2 or 3 Zerglings might settle this Nexus. Now, the main for Protoss is, for all intents and purposes, out, so... Killer can... Ooh, this is a really good game. Killer can just sort of manage on an army deficit for a little while. Another run by, but not aimed at a Nexus, and this... no upgrades, nothing for Zerg. That's really... not good at all. Zerg could have taken yet another base. Worker saturation here is bollocks as well. So a couple of extra hatches, but it's such a tight line. And now Protoss is starting a fourth. There is one Zergling attacking it, but there is just no Zerg army to help them stop that. And I fear that if... Oh, I fear. You should not take the Zerg perspective so much, because Purple Wave is playing a beautiful game versus the harassment heavy style of Killabot. And Killabot is just trying to do the impossible with a handful of... Oh, the Storm cleans up all the Hydras. And now Purple Wave is a double the army. This base lives, no cannons over there. And I fear that a human player... in the newspapers, you always got these chess problems. So the setting is so and so. You've got one move, how to start this game, how to win it. And a human player would have sniped this, shut this down, lost 1 or 2 bases, but then mopped everything up. But Zerg is still in this. The Hydras are cleaning up the Zealots even now. There is a High Templar, but it gets sniped. And the Zerg are without Overlord coverage and must kill this base now, because the natural getting low as well might do something with lurkers. The worker saturation is bollocks still. There is only 50 workers. But this army is... Zerg can't really get its stuff together. There are so many storms. And the Zealots are being engaged, even though there aren't any bloody upgrades for Zerg. Still, Protoss must be on 3-3 soon. And Zerg has got nothing at all to counter it. The Overlord coverage is not there. The Overlords are pretty much down and out, and... I think with the cannon over here, but Zerg is coming in for another round, ignoring the goon, going after the Templar. I think killing a couple of Templar is good, but not while being shot at by the cannon. This base could be overrun, should be overrun, and I think that these players should focus much more on killing bases just as an objective of their own. I think this is overdoing it a little bit by Purple Wave. This base never had a chance in hell. This base probably would have. Perhaps that's the gambit. Here comes another High Templar. And now I think Zerg is doing good to kill this base. Should shut it down. The main for Protoss is out. The natural is out. These 2 bases are up and running. This base needs to be killed. Oh, damn it. It's just not believable. These Hydras, they just bugger off because one Corsair flies over. And now Protoss is in a world of trouble. This base, the cannons were torn down. Where is the Protoss army? There is no Protoss army. There are some storms. There are a lot of storms, and these High Templars must be. And with the cannons and the Zealots, the natural is safe. The third is very vulnerable. The fourth is being completely ignored once again. But there is now a bigger Zerg army. And, oh, the worker saturation getting better. I think transferred from the main and the natural. What is this? Another hatch. So Zerg is getting better and better in this game. And High Templars are falling, the cannons are falling, there is no... Well, neither player has really got much of an army. The Dark Templar is coming in for some more damage, even without being invisible. But now, oh, the last Dark Templar. Just try and get it done with a handful of Zealots. And this base is really the last straw, or well, if it's going to be one base, but it's pretty low. This base should be defended at all costs, and now Zerg is going to take more bases. It feels the breathing room it's got, and now this base is under attack. Some Protoss units are rallying. This base is being left off. Another Dark Templar killed. This base must be defended as well. That could be the key for Purple Wave to get back into the game. Still no upgrades for Zerg. That's just laughable, just to be able to withstand the Protoss army. And Protoss has got a large army. Make no mistake about that. Protoss is still in this game. This base is still standing. This base is still mining. Might be getting low on gas. This base might be out still soon. And now, ooh, this base is taken with a lot of Sunkens, and if Zerg can draw some Zealots on these Sunkens, might be good. 2 Hydras, some coming in from the rear, just doing damage, but these Zealots are so well upgraded they nearly don't take any damage, but there is more Sunkens on the bottom, and a lot of Zealots are falling. The natural is being overrun, still Protoss taking a lot of damage from the Sunkens. There is no Overlord. The Dark Templar has free reign, and Zerg's army is nowhere to be found. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. There is such a lot of money. This is the time to make a lot of Zerglings just to get something out at the enemy. Not a time to build workers, and I think that Killabot is flipping out. And of course the upgrade situation is very dire because these Protoss are +3/+3. Might do shields as well, but I really thought that Zerg had it there, but in the end, just not enough. There isn't any gas, it's not mining any gas, it's complete rubbish. This is a mineral only, that's a mineral only. These bases are overrun and it's not mining gas here and there. There are no upgrades, and well, Purple Wave, props for the tenacity to staying in this game, but my god, Zerg could have had it at a couple of times, or the Protoss could have had it as well, but now the Templar count is going to be 7. That's a lot of storms, especially with the energy upgrade available. And there aren't any lurkers. There is nothing there, even had there been lurkers. There is an observer. So Protoss now with 100 versus 10 army supply, finally mining gas again. But if you are going to play Hydras and you've got 1.5k in the bank, just make Zerglings, even if they haven't got any upgrades, just to get the Protoss off your back for a little bit, gives you time to recuperate. But now Purple Wave is going to be unstoppable, although there is one Hydra over here. And I don't think these High Templars want to storm it because it's just one Hydra. Oh, there are some more Hydras, that's pretty good. The Nexus will fall. This Nexus will fall too, but the main army has been brought back. And now it's 100 versus a 24 army supply kind of thing. But you can see with the Hydras in this game that Zerg still has some kind of a chance. There is only one Protoss base mining Protoss, although it's got a great army. There are a lot of Sunkens, and Zerg is reinforcing. So Sunkens with reinforcements are fighting pretty well. This Hydra Expeditionary Force is being fought down, but you can see this base is mined out. So there is one base building, and this base is going to be hit again. The Protoss army will need to be brought back pronto. And they're going after the bloody pylon, can you believe it? Now going after the Nexus. The Nexus or the Workers, both are equally damaging to the Protoss as well. Now Protoss with this 100, oh, it's dwindled a little bit. Army supply, 80. The probes are all gone, the probes are all gone. Probes are being fed into this, and probes and the Nexus are being killed. A masterful stroke by Killabot, and the main army of Protoss has dwindled from 115 to 65. There are still a lot of Sunkens, and still Zerg units without upgrades, and Killabot still has got the income of 1-2 bases. That's pretty good. Protoss has retaken this base, but it's a mineral only. But now the question is, where will Zerg strike? Because at this point, well, it might be good to take down this Nexus and all, because gas income will lead to more hard Templars, but this base is the price for Zerg to just shut down. The armies are not equal yet, but I think Zerg has got the greater mobility, and it's got 2 bases versus the one of Protoss, and now the 2 of Protoss, but Zerg just keeping tabs on the enemy where it's at, and the Hydras are doing okay versus the Zealots, but the Zealots can nearly not be killed with all the upgrades they've got, and they do so much damage. There is no extra... Oh, well, what base can you take? This base. And now it has been found. Will it be attacked? Yes, it will be. And the Protoss army is dwindling. Probes are falling left, right. But these Hydras are so weak versus the well-upgraded goons. It's just unfair. This base is being shut down. This is really the key for Protoss. And now, kill it, kill it, kill it, kill it. Should be killed. The Nexus must fall. The Nexus must die Forget about these goons. Forget about the probes. You need, with your last breath, to kill this bloody Nexus. Not run off. Kill it. Oh, the goons zone it out, and now you've got a 2-base situation versus 2 bases. There is no other place Zerg can take more bases, and now... Kill it! Ah! Forget the goons. Although the Protoss army is completely gone. Where is it? What the hell is Protoss? It's building probes! Oh no, Protoss is just building probes, and one base goes down, the other base is under heavy attack, and Killerbot, with great tenacity, goes to town on the last mining base. All the probes are falling first. Protoss hasn't got a unit in the world. There are just probes. It's making probes 3 at a time where there is no money coming in. The last mining base is torn to pieces. And what a great game by Killerbot. Without any bloody upgrades, it beats down the #1 Protoss, the #1 bot of today, with just pure unupgraded Hydras. And that is completely ridiculous, but what a testament to the genius of Marion Deveka. It is a beauty to behold, and now this is not a base, should be taking another base because there is just no money left whatsoever. Lots of workers here, no money in the bank, just nothing, but there are some Hydras, and I think that there is just nothing left. There is one observer somewhere for Purple Wave, yes, there it is, can't see it flying about. But there is just nothing to fight back these Hydras, and I'm just going to give the Hydras the time. Long distance mining, bollocks, forget about it. Taking another base, forget about it. Just Hydras, and what a game it was. All the pylons are being torn down. And where is the observer? I don't know. But that's the GG, and what a game this was. Really can't wait for another Killerbot upgrade, because that might be one of the contenders to take down the Protoss dominance we see these last months. Okay, so let's hope I should not have stopped at the last game for a grand finale, because what a game it was. So if you want to know how to play Zerg versus Protoss or Protoss versus Zerg, just watch it again. That was really beautiful. And now you can see the #1 Purple Wave versus the #2 Locutus, and Locutus has been dominating the student StarCraft ladder for quite some time. Locutus starting out with a beautiful, beautiful SimCity without a cannon, must be said. Versus Protoss, there is not going to be a Zergling run-by. There is going to be a Zealot, but with the defender's advantage and a Zealot of your own, I think you might do pretty well against that. Quick call by Purple Wave. Locutus also, I think, is going for a core, but a little bit later, because it's got this SimCity just for some extra safety and versus any kind of DT shenanigan kind of thing. Natural started by Purple Wave. Still, the scouting probe is being chased out finally. But Locutus is pretty safe, and even though the natural is a little bit later, shouldn't be too much of a problem, because it's got quite an army where it can threaten the enemy, and Purple Wave is very, very, very afraid of these goons of Locutus. The Locutus goons are very good. Oh, and that's just throwing some shield points away for nothing. But it does press Locutus into making a couple of more cannons, and oh, that's just not good. Purple Wave should not keep doing that, just waiting into cannon's range. Perhaps it wants to kill one of these goons. Just don't do it. Just keep the concave over here. Clip all the zealots that come out. Yes, that's good. Don't get into cannon's range. Oh, it's not that hard, actually. Both players will have range by now. No other upgrades. What Purple Wave should do is just take another base or get some kind of tech to deal with these cannons. Just make a nice concave around this base and don't let Locutus out, because once Locutus is out of the box, it will have superior goon. You can see that over here. The goons are trying to reach the concave, and Purple Wave is running away with its goons, and that will mean that you are taking some free hits. Now, what's happening? I'll slow it down just a little bit. We've got some kind of technology. We've got a Robobay, an observatory, citadel, and more tech coming up, while Locutus, I fear, is just going to build a lot of goons. And rightly so, because the Locutus goons are very, very potent, and they can out-micro any number of... they can, I think, do well in games 4 versus 3, or even 2 to 4. They can just out-micro the enemy. And you can see Purple Wave losing a lot of stuff here. They're just 2 or 3 goons lost for free without even firing a shot in return, not having an extra base. And all this technology is pretty fancy, but nothing's coming off of it. It's just a lot of technology without unit production. Had there been a DT, you could have done something about these goons, or just forced an observatory from the enemy. And Locutus is banking like a champion on its goons. The army supplies are dead even. There is a third base for both players coming up, but I fear that the goon numbers for Locutus are going to increase even more. Have we got any upgrade? Yes, +1 is started for both players, and leg speed for Purple Wave. Why the hell would you build leg speed if you haven't got any zealots? Now there is a Dark Templar, but it's stuck. And it's just these little things that make a complex bot more difficult to manage. But I think Locutus has already seen the Dark Templar, and it's just hugging the cannon just to be safe. And at this time, just send the Dark Templar over to here and not attack into the goons of Locutus. It's going to be a bloody massacre, as demonstrated here. And now you run and you lose 4, 5, 6, 7. You lose all your goons. So another base taken, but there is a High Templar. And Storm is not yet done. So now you're fighting with half the army supply. You've got all kinds of fancy tech units. You've got Dark Templars, which you did nothing with, basically. Well, now, but you can't really get in there. And it will just give Locutus the time to build something. And this base is completely undefended. And we saw Killerbot do that most expertly. Send 1, 2 Dark Templars down to this base, and it will be gone. The goons, well, there are a problem, because they are pretty good, pretty well microed. That's one Storm which was dodged, and the Dark Templars just haven't got the staying power to keep up with the goons. You need more. If you've got an edge of Dark Templars, just make more Dark Templars. And this is fighting with half the army supply, not doing anything about this base, and then deliver yourself up to expressively good green micro by Locutus, and things will quickly start looking like this. Wow, and I really wonder what upgrade Purple Wave got at the AWIDE tournament, and I hope it will come to our server as well, so we can show you the true nature of the beast at its current state. Right now, Locutus is wiping the map with Purple Wave. The goons are just too good. They've got Purple Waves making upgrades again. Wow. So that's decision making wise is just not good. There aren't any units who are making upgrades, while you should be pumping something that can kill all the enemy goons. So I would say Reavers, perhaps Storm, perhaps Dark Templar, but pick something and commit to that, and then be done with it. So perhaps if we get the update posted this week or the week after that, because next week Shanko will be taking over the mic, and perhaps he will be able to show the new Purple Wave. But for now, Locutus still reigns supreme on the Student StarCraft AI tournament server, and you can see the macro behind it. It is absolutely beautiful. So for now, congratulations, and congratulations to Dan Gam for winning the AWIDE with his bot Purple Wave. I say goodbye, thank you for watching, thank you for making these bots. See Shanko next week, myself and the games the week after. Have a good evening and goodbye.